if you're an individual, if you're a member of the working class and you keep working harder and harder and things get more expensive and you can never catch up, then Bitcoin fixes your economic problem. But Bitcoin fixes every economic problem of everyone that adopts it. So if, for example, if only individuals adopt Bitcoin, but banks and nation states and cities and states and corporations don't, well, how good is your life going to be if all the corporations collapse, all the banks collapse, and all the nations collapse, and all the cities collapse, and you're economically sound, but all of these other institutions are not, right?
Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, Michael Saylor gives us an update on his current macro thesis and his perspective on current global market conditions, also his prediction for Bitcoin and crypto, and where he thinks the market will go in the next months. So let's get started with the video.
New York was the greatest city in North America by about 1776, and you would have been late to the party. But the question is, would you buy a city block in New York in 1776? Or if you waited till 1876 and you were really late to the party and New York was the greatest city in North America, was it too late to buy a city block in New York City in 1876? Or how about 1976? If you were 200 years late to New York City, if you look at the property values of New York in 1976, what you'll find is you would be rich if you had actually bought real estate in New York in 1976. So the answer to the issue is, in every economic system, every economic empire, there's always one city, one place one network where people gravitate to. In the ancient Med, it was Carthage for a while, and then it was Rome, and then it was Venice, and eventually the French Empire terminated in Paris, and the British Empire terminated in London, and then eventually the American economic empire terminated in New York. And there are reasons why. It's just everybody comes together in that place. Even today, New York is still the economic epicenter of the United States. And so Bitcoin represents the economic epicenter of cyberspace. It is the one place where if I want to create a digital application, if I want to move money at the speed of light, and I live in Singapore, I'm using Bitcoin. If I live in Paris, I'm using Bitcoin. If I live in Moscow, I'm using Bitcoin. If I live in China, I'm using Bitcoin. So you see, everybody in the world that actually believes in the idea of a digital asset that wants to build this as a treasury reserve asset, they're going to gravitate toward the most powerful network. Why? Because everybody else is gravitating there. Why do people go to New York? Because the smart money is in New York. I could go to New York 20 years ago. I could take 10 meetings. I could raise $1 billion in 2 days. So why would we be so stupid as to go to New York? Well, because that's where the money is. The money is in New York. So I went. And what did I bring with me? I brought my brain power, and I built my business there. And so I then reinforced that network effect. Today, the smart money is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's about a $500 billion network. How big can it get? Well, 500 trillion, 1,000x bigger in today's dollars. There's about $950 trillion worth of wealth out there. 350 trillion worth of real estate. Half of it is just capital or monetary premium. $300 trillion worth of bonds. Half of it is just a monetary premium. 100 trillion worth of equity. Half of it is a monetary premium. 12 trillion worth of gold. 80% of it is a monetary premium. So as the world gets smarter, people are going to sell those things because they don't make good money. Gold is awful money, right? It's just awful money. If you store your money in gold, you're losing half of your wealth every 35 years. So why would you do that, right? It's not working. In the last 2.5 years, gold is down 5%, Bitcoin is up 150%. The only people that are buying or holding gold are people that aren't paying attention, right? The smart money is clearly running away from it. And in time, people will dump their gold. And when they dump their gold, Bitcoin will jump by a factor of 10.
The upcoming 2 billion Bitcoin monthly options expiry on July 28th could potentially establish 29,500 as a support level. Some argue that the recent United States Federal Reserve interest rate increase to 5.25% had a detrimental effect on risk-on assets like cryptocurrencies. However, Bitcoin bulls believe that the full impact of a tighter economic policy takes time to influence the markets. Looking back, the monthly expiry on June 30th did not cause significant volatility, given that Bitcoin had already experienced a 22.2% gain between June 15th and June 23rd. Conversely, the May monthly expiry triggered a 9% rally, with Bitcoin's price rising from 26,100 on May 25th to 28,450 on May 29th. In contrast, the options expiry in April resulted in a 7% correction, as Bitcoin's price dropped from $29,900 on April 27th to $27,800 on May 1st. This data clearly indicates that the impact of options expiry takes a few days to consolidate, but eventually becomes highly relevant for setting trends.
Buying a Bitcoin, whether it's 1 Bitcoin or 1,000,000 Satoshis or 100,000 Satoshis or 1 Satoshi, is just like buying into New York City 250 years ago. Yeah, sure, you're late. People got there 100 years before you. Okay? Well, in this case, someone got there 14 years before you. I once tweeted, very famously, I said, I think Bitcoin is, going the way of online gambling. And I think Bitcoin is like $100 a coin then. Okay. And I was wrong, but I didn't need it. I was wrong. When I needed Bitcoin was $9,500, $10,000 a coin. And so I bought it at $10,000 instead of $100. People will buy it at 100,000. They will buy it at 1 million. They will probably buy it at 10 million, right? Because, how much does it cost for an apartment in Manhattan? People pay $10 million for 4,000 square feet. $10 million, right? All of Manhattan was purchased for, like $29 in beads or something. If you roll the clock back, some nothing. And so you can't really get caught up in what the unit price is. You have to ask the question, what is the dominant network in cyberspace? And Bitcoin is the dominant network. And the reason it's the dominant network is a bunch of things. One, all the smart money arrived there, right? If all the smart people that wanted a decentralized, non-sovereign store of value crypto network, if they all showed up, looked at 10,000 choices and picked this one and put all their money on it, right? That's like all the smart people, they showed up in America and they picked New York. You know why they picked New York? New York is sitting on 200 million year old granite schist, right? It's indestructible as an island, Manhattan. It's sitting between a bunch of rivers. It's sitting in front of one of the world's great harbors. And it's sitting at the mouth of the Hudson River, which is a mile wide, deep, and it goes straight right into the heart of the country. So if you were picking a port city, it was the most rock solid, geographically sound, logistically sound, well-engineered port you could possibly imagine, and so it matters. And Bitcoin represents the same thing. Bitcoin is backed by 400 exahash of digital energy. And 400 exahash of digital energy makes it the most powerful computer network in the world. And so if I'm going to put $1 billion on it, I would want the indestructible, nation-state resistant, fault-tolerant, most powerful computer network in the world. I wouldn't want the second most powerful network. And I wouldn't want a network 100 times less powerful. I want a network where you would need every computer in the world to slow it down 10%, and you would need all the electricity in the world to slow it down 10%. And that's what Bitcoin represents because of the way it's engineered. It represents an indestructible, unstoppable, most powerful computer network. And so anybody is looking to, if you're looking right now, you shouldn't look at it as, well, I wanted to buy something cheap and wait for it to go up 100x, so I better buy something that's a penny stock. Like, there is a meme we call penny stocks, right? The whole joke of a penny stock is, if you really wanted a penny stock, we can manufacture thousands of them. That's the theme of the movie Boiler Room. The Wolf of Wall Street did that. It's been going on for hundreds of years. People manufacture a penny stock, and they tell you you'll buy it for a penny. It's going to go up to $5. You're going to make 500x your money. That's not what you want. You want a cheap apartment? I'll sell you a $4 million apartment in New York, which looks expensive, or I'll sell you a $42,000 apartment, in some random suburb, in a third world country. But the point really is, which is the better real estate investment? It's not a matter of the cost to buy the thing. It's a question of how secure is the network you're buying into. And everybody will tell you, you buy the beachfront property in Palm Beach or Miami Beach, you're better off to buy a house on land than to buy the apartment. You're better off to buy the apartment in the good building than the bad building, and you're better off to buy the apartment in the good neighborhood than the bad neighborhood. And you're better off to buy the real estate in the capital city of Rome or London or Paris or New York than to buy the real estate in the 13th biggest city in the country when the inflation comes. So that would be my answer to that question.
So, what's your price prediction for Bitcoin at the end of 2023? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.